Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time.
Let's crack some packs. And what do we get? Well, if this were like my first sealed, I would be happy with the dual lands, but since we already have them, not the best rares to open for a sealed deck, sadly. Nullhide Ferox is okay, but Unmoored Ego and Gruesome Menagerie are almost unplayable. And sure, we have a bit of mana fixing, so we could potentially splash more than usual, but not the rares you're hoping to open. Alright, let's see if our commons and uncommons are any better. So in white, double Healer's Hawk, double Skyline Scout, Blade Instructor, and that's it. So apart from those Healer's Hawks and Skyline Scouts, nothing for any aggressive deck really. In blue, we've got a Murmuring Mystic, which is nice. Nothing else too exciting. Double Crab, I guess. And nothing else. Black has almost nothing. Red has a Crater Maker and Command and Blaze, and that's about it. And green has Harpooner, Stray, Ferox, Indrik. So green has some okay cards. Let's take a look at the multicolor ones. Got a Thought Erasure Agent Campaign for Dimir. No Shireen Whisper Agent Takedown Predator, so Dimir's looking like a prime candidate. Then taking a look at Izzet, we've got Electromancer, Cyclops, Drake, Hypothesis, all good. Golgari has a Status Statue. Assassin's okay. Boros has a Guildmage and Legionnaire. Selesnya's got Cavalier, and that's it. And then we've got a Glaive. So, like the first thought is just to try out Dimir, maybe splash green for some of those powerful green cards. Although of course Ferox is not splashable, could also just be straight up 3 colors, Sultai, black, green and blue. Or we might end up going even deeper, splashing for even more cards. So let's start out by seeing how the Dimir deck looks like if we were to just go straight up blue-black, if we have enough playables. So I like Stroke, Passwall, Disappearance is okay, Mystic, Double Crab and Drake are okay. Mesmerist, if we need 2 drops, we can always add it. Some Burglar Rats. Don't have any Sever Strands, sadly, to go with the Burglar Rats. And then the Dimir cards, Thought Erasure Agent, No Shireen Campaign, Agent, Takedown Predator. And we've got some mana fixing too. So this would be straight up Dimir, and we end up at 33 cards, so there's not quite enough playables. And looking at the curve, could use more 5 drops. Don't have a ton of removal, just have a Artful Takedown, and that's about it. But it's maybe a good starting point to add on to. So what if we add some green? How does that look like? We would get an Indrik. Harpooner's not really a card you want to splash, but if we're straight up 3 colors, then it could be okay. And then we get a Status Statue, but not much else. So splashing green doesn't seem the way to go. Could try red. Red gives us Crater Maker, Command, Blaze, if we want to go deeper into red. Gives us Sizzle, Electromancer, maybe Crackling Drake and Cyclops. Could be something. Of course, Chromatic Lantern could potentially allow some shenanigans too. But a card like Cavalier, which would be a very strong card, is still going to be very difficult if we're starting out as a base Dimir deck. So this one's going to be tough. So let's see if there's any cards worth splashing for in other colors. So here I don't see anything we want to splash. I mean, we could still play Mesmerist if we wanted to, they're just not too exciting. Same with the Child of Night and the Necrolisk, if we really need more playables. Here I would like to play Commander Storm, maybe Crater Maker, maybe Blaze. In green, Harpooner's okay, Indrik, Ferox are decent too. I wouldn't mind access to Drake or Hypothesizal. Status Statues, good removal that we could splash. And don't really want to splash Legionnaire or Guildmage. Glaive could give us something spicy to work with. How many? Well, of course we have quite a few gates. Got 2 Golgari Guild gates. Already have 3 Dimir. So Glaive is actually going to be quite okay in this deck, regardless of how deep we want to go. Just if we end up with like 5 or 6 gates, then Glaive is going to be reasonable if we have enough cheap creatures, and with double Burglar Rat, I could see Glaive doing some work. The cards we're interested in splashing are mostly Izzet, and then maybe like a Status Statue. Status we could still play for single black as a combat trick, of course a lot better if we can cast a Statue half. So we could add 2 Golgari Guild Gates to our deck, add Status Statue, and then add Glaive. Then if we're gonna splash red, adding Chromatic Lantern also makes sense, since it helps fix our mana for green and helps with the red. And then we try and fit in as many good red cards as we can. Cyclops makes sense since it's still castable at double blue. Hypothesizal is very splashable, even if we have only single red available. Commander Storm makes sense, and then the question is, do we go even deeper? Do we try and go with the double red cards like Blaze and Crackling Drake? Do we play Electromancer, even though I don't think we have a ton of instants and sorceries that benefit from it necessarily? Doesn't seem worth it. And of course, every mountain we add to the deck makes it more difficult to cast our Nightveil Predator. So I don't know if Crackling Drake is going too far. Yeah, if we're adding green, splashing Indrik makes sense too. So that one we can easily add. But I don't think we go into double red or double green territory, despite having Chromatic Lantern, because if we don't draw Chromatic Lantern, we'll be unable to cast those cards. So yeah, I think we have to sadly leave out the Ferox, leave out Crackling Drake. But looks like we have enough playables as is, so what are we working with here? We're splashing green for Status Statue, but Status is still fine with single black, and an Indrik, and Indrik is very splashable. And then we're playing red for essentially just Command and Sizzle, since Cyclops is playable for double blue. So it's a very minimal splash, which I like. And by adding a few Golgari Guild Gates to our deck, we also make our Glaive better, which we want to do anyway. So I think this makes sense. And we don't need to play any forests, since we only need single green, and we have 3 green sources with double Guild Gate and Lantern. And we don't need many mountains to make this work. 2 mountains probably plenty. So let's add a mountain. So we still have 17 lands, and we get to play with a few more powerful cards here. And I think we really did need to splash just to get access to more removal with Status Statue, Command, and Hypothesizal. Otherwise, we were just too low on removal, and cards like Murmuring Mystic weren't good enough. This looks okay. Have a little bit of Surveil for the agent and the campaign. Not a lot, but enough to go around here. We've got Disappearance, Thought Erasure, Whisper Agent, Notion Rain. So we've got 4 Surveil cards that I'm happy to play regardless. So if we get to draw a few extra cards with campaign, that's good enough. And then we've got the Burglar Rats to equip the Glaive onto, which is nice. And plenty of creatures in general. Our curve looks reasonable, and our splash is reasonable too, so I don't hate it. Of course, not the best sealed deck ever. Our previous sealed deck was quite a bit better, but still could win some games here. And then gotta figure out the mana base, so we don't need any forests. 2 mountains seems plenty. And then we have to figure out the island swamp split. We do have a lot more blue than black apparently, but we still need a healthy balance of black mana just to cast our Nightveil Predator and a turn 2 Burglar Rat. So right now we have 5 black sources from our gates. Probably want to balance that out and cut a swamp and an island. Yeah, 9 black, 10 blue. That's fine. I don't think we need to change anything here. And then enough red thanks to the lantern as well. 3 red, 3 green essentially. Chromatic crab. Let's go. Mountain's a little awkward with the predator, but still get to cast a turn 2 adapt, turn 4 crab. Want to make sure not to play the mountain before we have to. Let's say we don't draw anything relevant. Do we make Pass While Adept unblockable to get in 1 damage? Is this a type of deck where we're gonna try and race? Opponents going pretty deep themselves on a Jeskai deck of some sort. I think we want to be the control deck in this instance where we have Takedown and Hypothesizzle. So I'm not gonna trade 1 damage for 1 damage. Chromatic Lantern. Or we can play a crab. Opponent could easily have Disdainful Stroke up here. And this gives us access to Nightveil Predator next turn if they tap out, which is going to be hard to beat. I guess our opponent could have something like a Deafening Clarion, which would be a reason for them to maybe go Jeskai control, which is what this looks like. Ooh, Experimental Frenzy. Alright, Disappearance is great against Frenzy, so don't hit it. And it's going to make it even more difficult for them to answer Nightveil Predator in time. So I think this is good for us. Get to play Predator. Keep up Disappearance. And our opponent's in top deck mode. Alright, they did find an island. Don't think we Disappearance the Informant. Attack with Predator, and then we can play Crab. Say go, keep up Disappearance. Seems good. Yeah, playing a Frenzy this early is definitely a ballsy move. But we'll see if it pays off. They're not sacking it, so they're still happy with the Frenzy in play. They did get a land off of it. So who knows, maybe they're just using it to get a few extra cards going and then they'll sack it. But so far, they've not been too successful. And we can start making the Crab unblockable if we want to. We could bounce the Informant. I mean, we could just make stuff unblockable too here. Make Pass While and Crab unblockable, keep up Disappearance. Maybe that's fine. I guess so. Get in for 6, put them to 11. So we've got them on a 3-turn clock total. And we still have Unexplained Disappearance at the ready. I guess this is fine. Alright, opponent is gonna sack the Frenzy. That's fine. So they wanna start deploying their hand. And yeah, there's a Deafening Clarion. So let's bounce our Predator. And Whisper Agent's probably good enough. Alright, I mean, now they could easily have Counterspell mana up as an issue. So tapping out for Nightveil Predator seems like a mistake. So instead we can go end of turn Whisper Agent and still have our removal up as well. And keep pressuring them with the Crab. Alright, that's good. Cyclops, so they did tap out of double blue. Could still have Disdainful Stroke. Take one for now. And we'll probably end up casting one of our removal spells here. I think we'll fire off the Hypothesizzle on the Cyclops. See if they wanna maybe Disdainful Stroke this. They don't. Alright, we'll ditch a Cyclops, I guess. Yeah, they could have something like an Ionize too, which would be the other counterspell for single blue. I mean, we're just going to attack here and then see what happens. If they want to trade Agent for Phantasm, that's fine. So they're down to 8. If this Predator gets countered, I don't like our chances, so it's pretty important that it resolves. So I'll just play a land, say go. No, that's rough. End of turn Chemist's Insight, so yeah, that's gonna make it difficult, because now whenever they keep up mana for counterspells, they still get to jumpstart the Chemist's Insight. Not what we want to see. Counterspells are a non-bow with Experimental Frenzy, which is true, but doesn't mean that they don't have them in the deck. Like, our opponent's not really pressuring us, so we don't have to necessarily make a move. And we could still easily find more good cards in the meantime that we can maybe play in the same turn as Predator to at least resolve one thing. So I think the player is just to sit behind the crab, make them make the first move, play a flyer that we can maybe kill with Artful Takedown. But I don't feel necessarily forced to tap out for Nightveil Predator. Which, I mean, if our opponent didn't have a counterspell, we could have won the game by now. But so it goes. That's brutal. Alright, that's not a flyer we can kill with Artful Takedown, but still something that pressures us into making a move. So that's about the worst case scenario. I guess what we can do is tap Electromancer, kill Informant, so Crab in the future still has good attacks once the Informant is no longer around. So I guess we will go for takedown here. So tap and kill. Alright, more crabs. So now the question is, do we go after the opponent's life total, or do we go after Ral? Ral's at 6, ultimate's at -8, opponent's got 14 cards left, so they'll probably ultimate before we deck them. I don't know, at 6 loyalty it kind of feels like a waste. I think I'll go face. Play Crab. Could make an argument for playing Predator first, because they knew about it, and maybe they think we have an even better card than Predator we want to try and resolve. I think we still say go. Like, there's a good chance that they do have the counterspell, but by playing it this way, we're forcing them to always keep up 4 mana or however many mana they need for their counterspell. But at least now we got a bit more pressure in play with the 2 crabs, so we also force them to put something in play. This is rough. A good draw here would be something like a Glaive of the Guild Pact, something that can pressure them for a low mana cost right away. Or just another good card like an Indrik, for example, would be decent. Another removal spell. So yeah, they are keeping up 5 mana again. Now of course they have a Sphinx, which deals with the Nightveil Predator. Alright, so now I'll bait with the Nightveil Predator, because I actually think the Command Storm is a card that needs to resolve here. And we'll see if they have the counterspell. Of course they could have drawn into it by now, even if they didn't have it from the beginning. This looks like a devious cover-up. Alright, but we cast the Nightveil Predator at a good moment where we get to also cast something else. So if they did happen to have multiple counterspells, they didn't get to take advantage of them. So now the question is, do we keep going face or do we attack Ral? I think I keep going face. At this point, I think the ship has sailed on attacking Ral. Alright, they took it, so they're down to 2. So a single crab is lethal. But of course they have a lot of resources to work with here, so I don't expect the crabs to get there. So next turn Ral can ultimate. 11 cards remaining. Inescapable Blaze is a pretty good answer to a crab. And a Leapfrog, so they can double block potentially. And a Beam Splitter. Electromancer getting frisky. Darkblade Agent to draw. So there's no point attacking Ral, otherwise we just give the opponent a choice of letting Ral take 2 damage, so we have to attack our opponent if we're attacking. Question is, do we want to? We're trading Crab for, what, a Leapfrog, a Beam Splitter. So yeah, this game was rough. We resolved the Nightfell Predator early, but they had one of the few answers in form of the Clarion, which they also shoveled back into their deck, by the way, which can also gain them life. I don't know. I guess we'll attack and trade for Leapfrog, that way they gain less life with wait, they're chump blocking? Okay. So they don't even want to kill the crab. We'll see. Alright, Beacon Bolt 2. Yeah, Beacon Bolt is rough. It's 2 removal spells in 1. So they did not want to ultimate Ral. Maybe afraid of decking after all. So now they ultimate Ral, so they wanted to draw 2 cards but not 4. Radical idea. Alright, fair enough. We'll see if they can kill us in time. 7 cards remaining. I guess they will. So what we're hoping now is that we can draw some removal spells to make sure we can kill their creatures before they kill us. But I guess it's going to be ambitious, since they're dealing 5 here. And a Hellkite Whelp. I guess we'll see. And Notion Rain. Do we want to cast a Notion Rain? Yeah, I guess we will cast it. Why not? Burgle Rat. Not too effective here, but might as well. Hypothesis all discarded. Can't afford to draw those cards. But I'm pretty sure we're dead here. Disappearance. Puts us to 1, attack with everyone. And that should do it. Alright, 2 cards remaining. Cut it pretty close. So what could we have done different? We could have tried to jam Nightfell Predator earlier. I think it was when they tapped out for like the Cyclops maybe. Yeah, there was one turn where they only had single blue up. So that could have been the turn where we should have maybe tried to tap out for the Nightfell Predator. I think they had the option of not tapping out for double blue. You would expect them to keep representing a double blue counterspell at that point. I mean, they could have still had the Disdainful Stroke up for all we know, but... And then the other decision we could have made differently was attack Ral instead of our opponent's face with the crab. I mean, we did get our opponent down to 2 life. We forced him to make awkward chump blocks in the end because we put him down to 2 life, which could have given us an advantage later. But of course our opponent did end up winning thanks to the Ral emblem. Could have made different decisions, which could have maybe led to a different outcome. You never know. Alright, hand looks okay. Alright, turn on Poisoner. Do have the Glaive this time around with 1 gate already. And a few creatures that we don't mind equipping. Burgle Rat matches up pretty well against the Poisoner too. Definitely want to keep playing blue and black lands in case of Nightfell Predator. And do we want to trade 1 damage for 1 damage? I think we do, given the Glaive. We're kind of on the beatdown plan. Let's get in for one, and I think we'll test out the waters with Muse Drake instead of the Murmuring Mystic, since I would rather resolve the Mystic in case of Disdainful Strokes. Alright, resolves right away. So, don't have to worry about Disdainful Stroke. Opponent offering the trade. I don't think we have to take it though, because again, we're probably winning the race thanks to this glaive. And we can make everything unblockable with the Passwell Adept, so the 1/1 Death Touch creature on defense doesn't bother us. Bartism Bats explains why they were interested to trade. For now we could play Murmuring Mystic, get that in play. Or we could Notion Rain plus Glaive or Passwell, but it feels like we want a Mystic before we Notion Rain here. So that's what we'll do. And then we can still attack with the Rats. Still okay trading 1 damage for 1 damage. And then next turn we can Notion Rain. If we draw into a black source, we could also campaign. Alright, opponent staying back. That's good. So I think we'll lead with a Notion Rain here, see what we draw, and go from there. Start making some birds. Indrik's good, but we don't have green mana yet. And Guildgate is good with the Glaive and gives us double black, which could be useful if we draw a Nightfell Predator. I guess we don't necessarily need the Indrik right now. But I think I will keep the gate. Alright. And then we can play Guildgate. And I think play the Glaive. And attack for 1. Probably should have attacked first, but they didn't have the Whisper Agent last turn. Alright, Poisoner. So our opponent's not doing a whole lot, which is good for us, since we're just campaigning them to death. I guess we'll start by campaigning first, see what we draw. Ooh, Thought Erasure, so we can just completely rip our opponent's hands to shreds. Seems good. Ooh, those are 2 good ones. I guess... Alright, opponent's had enough. It's interesting what to take there. Do we take the card that lets them surveil when the creature dies, or the one that surveils when it enters the battlefield? They needed any mana to play the Sphinx, but they needed specifically blue mana for the Watcher in the Mist. So I don't know what we would have taken there. Either way, we're 1-1. Hand looks reasonable enough. Mountain's a little awkward with Nightfell Predator. Alright, turn to Sunhome Stalwart, it's pretty scary. Alright, probably need to keep this Guildgate, but this is pretty rough, since we're getting beat down by this Legionnaire Stalwart. We could bottom it and hope to draw an untapped black source, but most of our black sources are gates. We've got 3 Golgari Guildgates, a Watery Grave, 2 Dimir Guildgates, and I think 3 Swamps. So don't have a very high chance of drawing an untapped black source. So probably have to just take the Dimir Guildgates and soak up quite a bit of damage here, sadly. And then hope to come back with a few removal spells. And since we're not blocking, we might as well attack. Woodshaper. Alright, no attacks. That's weird. Not sure what they were playing around. But I'll take it, I guess. And we can let this enter battlefield untapped to play Nightveil Predator. Yeah, our opponent did miss with the Woodshaper. So if they attack with a Legionnaire, ooh, Resurgence. They gain first strike and vigilance, and after the main phase there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. But they don't have any great attacks into the Nightveil Predator. We get our choice of which creature to kill here. Can only block once with a Predator, but we get to kill a creature for free and then take 8 damage. So which creature do we kill? The Stalwart or the Legionnaire? I guess the Stalwart has more upside to be scary. So we'll take another 4 down to 6, or we could chum block with a Whisper Agent. So do we take 4 down to 6? I mean, we could beat that to a Blaze, but I don't expect them to have double red cards necessarily. Takedown and Hypothesizzle should stabilize us nicely. So the only question is whether we want to play Mystic first. I guess we do. Alright, Perhelion Patrol into Skyline Scout. So they've got quite a few flyers all of a sudden. But we've got the Murmuring Mystic to make tokens. Burgle Rat doesn't make him discard anything. So the play here is probably going to be Artful Takedown, or we could just Hypothesizzle the Patrol, discarding Rat. Like, we'll get a token from the Mystic to block the Skyline Scout either way. So I could see it being Hypothesizzle as a more mana efficient play, since the tap on the Artful Takedown doesn't do much. And I guess we'll main phase it in case we draw into a land that we can play. Got quite a few Guild Gates. Discard Rats. And Lantern lets us cast Indrik. They don't have any good attacks. So let's get the Lantern in play. And I think we want to keep up Disappearance just as insurance here. So I'm not gonna play out the Darkblade Agent. And now the question is, which creature do we kill with Indrik? I mean, the birds are probably not going to get to attack anyway, so I guess we kill the Legionnaire. Recluse we can block with a Murmuring Mystic pretty easily. That's a good draw too. Alright, so we should have things covered. So we'll attack with the Predator and then keep up a bunch of removal. I don't think playing Darkblade Agent does much for us. And at some point we can kill the Recluse and start attacking with the bird tokens too. Could also attack with the bird if they block with the Spider cast status, giving +1/+1 in Death Touch. Alright, opponent with a lot of big boys. Sure. Alright, so how do we want to deal with the worm? I think we want to keep the Artful Takedown, so let's statue killing Siege Worm. Make a bird. We'll just trade for the Indrik. And on top. Can we kill them with the Passwell Adepts? Not this turn, but probably next turn. And I guess now it's time to play the Darkblade Agent. Still have Artful Takedown and Disappearance up. Yeah, if you equip Glaive onto the Worm, it's unblockable. Fine, sure. Yeah, so probably just wanna play Disappearance so we can surveil into a land, so we can play Adapt and then activate it twice. But they might be dead regardless, even without a land, because of the birds. Just had to survive their early onslaught. The missed attack there with the Sky Knight Legionnaire and the Stalwart definitely could have cost them. We could have been at like 2 life, so who knows. Alright, I mean, we've got the Thought Erasure Disinformation campaign hand, so we'll keep. Probably, it's interesting whether to play Thought Erasure on 2 here, since we don't have a ton of surveil otherwise. So it could be worth it to campaign, and then Thought Erasure afterwards. Alright, it makes it even easier, I guess. Ooh, turn 2 Steamkin, that's scary. Time for campaign. Opponent discarded a Watcher in the Mist into Legionnaire. Well, it's going to be pretty good here. But what we can do is Disappearance into Thought Erasure. Although then we do miss out on Surveil picking up campaign. So instead we could Thought Erasure plus Passwell Adapt. And then next turn go campaign into Disappearance. Could also go Adapt plus Disappearance. That's also reasonable. And then next turn Thought Erasure them. Yeah, I guess that's reasonable. Like, we don't get to check out their hand right now, which I kind of want to do. But especially if they play something main phase 1 and can't replay whatever we bounce here, that's going to be beneficial. If they try and put a third counter on the Steamkin to get past the Adept, we get to bounce it with Disappearance. So this is decent. And not giving the opponent perfect information is always a valuable play. Alright, so they do try and make Steamkin into a 3-3. So they can attack. And I think we will bounce the Steamkin. And then we wouldn't mind an untap land. We've got the Muserake to block the Sky Knight anyway. Wishcoin Crab. Wishcoin Crab's not bad. But I think I would prefer an untap land. And otherwise we still have Drake to play. So sadly the Crab will have to go. Wait, what just happened? The Crab is persistent. And I think I prefer playing Crab over Musedrake here, since it's pretty likely that they attack with the Cyclops next turn. So, alright, I'll play Crab. Alright, opponent does find their 4th mana, replay Steamkin, and a Guild Mage. Alright. Take 2. And a Disdainful Stroke. So we did not get there on the land, sadly. I don't know if we're far enough behind that we should risk playing campaign in the hopes of drawing a land. Otherwise we can play Musedrake. I think we campaign and hope for the best. Alright, not quite. Discards Erratic Cyclops. And we know that their hand is all spells since they missed a land drop. So our hand is clunking up a bit. We Dragonauts, pumping Steamkin. Alright, I mean, this attack is still beatable. Thought Erasure could be effective to maybe take a spell out of their hand so they don't get to go crazy with Cyclops and Dragonauts. But if we just cast a Thought Erasure, I guess we still get to keep up this Disdainful Stroke. But on the board we're taking a lot of damage. So yeah, things definitely got out of hand. I guess we will Thought Erasure, keep up Stroke for now. Like, alternatively we could Musedrake, but then we're just begging for them to cast a spell and kill us. Alright, probably have to take the Sizzle. And Watergrave is painful, but it is a land. So I guess we'll keep it. Yeah, we could counter the Sizzle, but let's say they don't draw the land at this turn, then we'll have to be forced to keep up Disdainful Stroke for the rest of the game. Which is going to be rough when we're already constrained on mana. Opponent playing out to recruit to play around Disinformation Campaign. Probably time to play Muse Drake. They can tap it down with the Guild Mage, attack us for a 3 at least. If not more. But we want to get on the board here. Alright, play Guildgate, I guess. Next turn we can Indrik. Indrik is going to be a nice stabilizing play. So, we'll see. They might jam with everyone, although I guess the Cyclops can't attack. Guildmage is close to also burning us out. So probably want to kill that with the Indrik or the Hypothesizzle. Nah, tap down the Drake, get in for 3. Status statue. Alright, so now we've got some tools to work with finally. I guess we want to kill the Guildmage before they get a chance to untap. So I guess we Sizzle here, killing Guildmage. Hope they don't draw a spell for the turn, and then we'll take maybe 1 damage, maybe more. What happens if they attack with everyone? 3 blockers. Yeah, we might fall to like 1 life. Alright. Discard Notion Rain. Zap the Guildmage. And playing Island doesn't do anything, so we'll play a tap land. Alright, let's see if we're dead. Any non-creature spell kills us here. Well, I guess I should have been more specific. Any instant or sorcery kills us. Opponents seeing if they want to attack with everyone. They could put us to 1, but they would lose a few creatures in the process. So I don't know if it's worth it. They don't. Alright. And our opponent's forced to play out everything because of our Disinformation Campaign. Artful Takedown was a nice pickup. So, got a few options. We can Indrik, killing Sky Knight Legionnaire. If they draw any instant or sorcery, Minotaur prevents Muse Drake from blocking Dragonauts, kills us. So I guess we want to Indrik the Dragonauts. And then Legionnaire can put us to 1. Could also keep up Disdainful Stroke and Artful Takedown. I think we Indrik here, since all of their triggers are on cast, so even if we counter an instant or sorcery, we're still in trouble. Get the glaive into play, so we're slowly starting to stabilize. Alright, opponent draws. So we might be able to campaign. No attacks. Alright, we get to empty their hand here with campaign and rat, and then keep up the Disdainful Stroke. Seems good. Murmuring Mystic is good too. And a Righteous Blow. Alright, we're crawling back into this game. And I've got plenty of blockers, so the Minotaur is less scary. Direct Current to the face. Yeah, that'll do it. Prevent Muse Drake from blocking. And Legionnaire kills us. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything about that. But GG indeed. Could we have prevented that from happening? I mean, it was going to be rough since we didn't have a counterspell for the Direct Current, so eventually they can just jumpstart it and kill us. So even if we had blockers for the Legionnaire, or if we killed the Legionnaire with Artful Takedown there, for example, then the Direct Current would have still killed us. Just unlucky top deck. Alright, reasonable hand, we'll keep. I wonder what would have happened had we, instead of cast Disappearance on turn 4, gone with the Thought Erasure earlier. But we did end up taking a Hypothesis with a Thought Erasure, which was pretty valuable too. So definitely had a lot of decisions in the previous game. I'm not sure if there's some combination of plays that could have allowed us survive. It's definitely possible. Difficult to say right now. Pretty close to stabilizing. I think waiting a turn on Thought Erasure makes sense. We could draw a campaign and make surveilling afterwards better, plus we give them one more turn to draw into something good that we can take away. Alright, so we've got another spicy Jeskai variant. Chamber Sentry is going to be hard to beat if they've got all 5 colors. So do they have any answers to Nightveil Predator? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, next turn they could play a 3/3 Goblin Electromancer if they wanted to. So we could take that. Don't hate it. Campaign's a good draw. Because if they don't have a creature, they don't get to pressure us. And we just end up killing them with the Nightveil Predator before they end up killing us. If their hand's all removal, it doesn't do much against a hexproof creature. So I will definitely Nightveil Predator before we campaign, but campaign's a good one to have afterwards. Don't know about never making misplays, but we try our best. So they could have drawn into a counterspell, but don't have a reason to believe so necessarily. They could have played a Chamber Sentry, but decided not to. So that's the only information we have to work with here. But I think we just jam and hope they didn't pick up Disdainful Stroke. So we'll get in for 1. There's a chance they use their Response Resurgence here. Although I doubt it. Yeah, no misplays, just happy little accidents. Alright, if they have Disdainful Stroke, they have Disdainful Stroke. Yep, opponent looking at Nightveil Predator, looking at the removal spells, looking at Nightveil Predator, realizing Hexproof is a messed up mechanic, taking another look at the removal spells, and now they're gonna start figuring out what to do. Alright, Chamber Sentry for 3 is the answer. Oh, that's not bad. So we can campaign into Disappearance. Alright, Hypothesisal's not bad. Yeah, I don't mind Disappearance on Sentry right now, just to get in for 1 with Adept. Get back our campaign. Next turn we can Hypothesisal the Sentry if they replay it. Whisper Agent, is that good enough? Yeah. It surveils for campaign, so it's gotta be good enough. Get in for 4. So we're on the beatdown plan. Not too many answers to Nightveil Predator. Our previous Jeskai opponent had one of the very few in Deafening Clarion. We were able to bounce their Predator to save it, but then they had a counterspell up, or at least we thought so, and eventually counterspell did manage to counter the Predator on the way back. I think we'll sizzle here. Get this Chamber Sentry out of here while we can. Sacrificial Crab. Alright, Capture Sphere the Passwell Adept. That's desperation time. I mean, we're not really in a hurry. We could glaive the Predator at some point as well if they present a flyer. So we've got most stuff covered. Don't hate campaigning. And then maybe playing a glaive. So we can't deal lethal here, can we? We've got +2 with the glaive and +1 with the statue, so we've got 6 damage. So let's get in for 3. Probably just flashing in a Whisper Agent end of turn. You could have also cast a Notion Rain before playing the land in case we drew an untapped land, so we could replay campaign, but I don't think that matters. And now we even have lethal through something like a Clarion, because we can just flash an agent end of turn. I guess playing Crab would have also worked. Hypothesis all, sure. Alright, so this should be dead here. Alright, sweet. So got to win. So far our losses were very close games, and our wins were pretty convincing, so yeah. Our deck's been performing pretty reasonably, and it's not like we opened an insane pool, so don't think we need to make any changes at the moment, and I'm pretty happy with how we're doing. Like, what are the good cards in our deck? We've got some off-color uncommon removal spells, we've got campaign plus a few surveil cards, which has been pretty strong. And then, I mean, a Murmuring Mystic with a few instants and sorceries. And then a Nightveil Predator. So, I mean, just goes to show that even with a very average sealed deck, you can still do some work. But I have noticed that the sealed decks I've built so far that have been most successful are usually Dimir based, just because the surveil mechanic is so strong and sealed, where you get to smooth out your draws late game. Alright, hand looks reasonable enough. Alright, turn to Glowspore, so up against a more dedicated Golgari deck, who nullhide Ferox in the graveyard. Burgle Rat's not bad here. Blocks the Shaman pretty well. So our opponent's going pretty deep. Rock Charger and City Watch Sphinx. Generous Ray is pretty good too. Oh, good thing we didn't rat the Ferox, indeed. That's pretty back-breaking if that ever happens. Well, I guess we'll rat again. That's a nice draw too. Also discard. And 2 surveil cards already. So if they're not pressuring us, then we can win a late game. Ooh, Beast Whisper. That's a problem. So we might just want to Disappearance that and then counter it on the way back. And do we want to land? I think we do. Could double block. Don't think we have to. The rats are pretty valuable when we have a glaive going. So we'll campaign. Once again, ooh, Nightveil Predator, that's a good draw. Our draws have been pretty nice so far. And our opponent hasn't been doing too much. Alright. Finally biting the bullet, so they might have an undergrowth creature they want to play here. Yep. That's okay. So an 8/8 Rhizome Lurcher is pretty big. Still trades for a Nightveil Predator. Don't have another answer to it at the moment, and don't have many answers in our deck other than Status Statue. Like, we're probably going to win a late game anyway, given the campaign situation. So I don't mind protecting our life total. So they haven't found their white mana yet. Ooh, Hitrata. Alright. Hitrata's good. Still targets, so they can't exile the Nightveil Predator with it. And the Indrik can't kill it. Did pick up a land. So I guess we'll Whisper Agent into campaign. Sure, they get to exile the Whisper Agent, but that's fine. Chromatic Lantern's probably good enough, gives us access to Indrik. And I guess we'll keep land in hand for discard. Opponent might have their own Burglar Rats. 5. I guess if we play the land and draw lands, an untapped land, we could go Lantern into Indrik next turn. So that's the advantage of playing out the land here. But right now, Indrik doesn't appear to do much. So I think I'll keep land for discard. So we're still happy to trade Predator for Lurcher. And if they want to attack with the Hitrata, that's fine by me. We can't really attack with the Nightveil Predator anytime soon is the problem, since they can attack us back with the Lurcher, which is gonna hurt even more. So I guess we'll just be playing a crab next turn, since I don't really want to kill the Genderstray. Necrotic Wound, are they setting up a sacrifice effect, perhaps? Playcrafter could be pretty painful here. Wow, they had it too. That's nice. One of the few answers to Lurcher, and they set it up nicely with... Well, they needed to have a removal spell besides Hitrata and Necrotic Wound at 1 mana to play alongside Playcrafter on 4 mana, so... Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. So now we're in trouble. Need to draw our status statue as soon as possible. I guess we have 3 gates, so the Indrik is pretty close to killing or trading with the Lurcher. So for now we'll play Lantern into Crab into Guild Gates. And next turn we can Indrik plus maybe equip. So we'll take 8. Alright, there's the answer. So we're still fine. I guess we want to statue the Lurcher instead of playing Indrik here. And then we can equip the Crab and attack. I mean, I think we would have been fine regardless, since we could still double block Lurcher. But of course this is the preferred outcome. And do we kill the Lurcher right now? Opponent has some blue in there, they could have Disdainful Strokes. So I don't mind killing it while we can. Keep land in hand for discard. Next turn we get to kill the Playcrafter. And we should be good to go. Alright, Sever Strands killing Crab on its way out. That's too bad. Now we don't get any value from the Indrik, so do we still play it? I'm kind of tempted to keep it, to be honest. Like, our opponent's at 17, so Indrik with the Glaive is 7, so it's not even a 2-turn clock. So I think we try to be patient, make him play an extra creature here before we Indrik. Especially if they draw Flyer here, we're gonna regret playing the Indrik. Alright, we'll Notion Rain, see what we draw. So Guild Gates grows the Glaive by 1. Is that relevant enough that we want to draw it? 4 power, 5 power. I don't think we want to Guild Gate. I think I'll just take the Drake. And then we'll play the Drake. See what we draw. And then we might play Campaign too. Could hold on to Campaign. Not close to decking yet. I think we just want to draw a card deeper. Alright, just a bunch of lands. But now we have a Drake that we can equip with the Glaive to start pressuring. Still have an Indrik in case they play their own creature. Alright, now that we drew Hypothesis, I think I can get behind just playing the Indrik to increase our clock. This puts them to 13. Playing Indrik gives us 8 power total, so that's a 2-turn clock. So yeah, I think we'll play the Indrik now. I mean, our opponent was stuck on 4 lands for a while, so they're finally hitting a land pocket here, which isn't too surprising. Command Storm doesn't go to face, so we'll just hit for 8. And we should have most creatures covered here. Found their white mana too, which they apparently were splashing for a Rock Charger. Maybe something else too. And we got there. Well, this was an interesting game. Opponent found one of the few ways to deal with a Nightveil Predator using Playcrafter and a cheap removal spell alongside it. And we're 4-2. So let's see, 1,400 gems. Need to get to 6 wins before we get our gems back. So let's try and do that. Oh yeah, turn 4 Ferox is very hard to deal with. You need so much mana to be able to kill it, and then still have to pay the 2 extra mana on top. So usually turn 4 Ferox is GG unless you have a Death Touch creature out. Opponent considering blocking here. Wow. Okay. I'll take it. Maybe your opponent thought recruit at first strike or something. Or they might have a very slow hand and they just want to protect their life total at all costs. Decides to discard a mountain. Alright, Minotaur. Could go Lantern, keep up Disdainful Stroke too, which isn't bad. Opponent on a red-green aggro deck of some sort. Getting the Mystic down is nice. If they play a big creature, we can kill it with Hypothesis, not too far from here. So I think we will play the Mystic. And then next turn maybe go Lantern, keep up Stroke if we don't draw land. If we draw land, we could maybe Sizzle. Got some options. So don't hate going Lantern, keep up Stroke. Like, we could play Muse Drake, but we're only taking 1 damage at the moment, which is acceptable. Kinda wanna develop our mana here, so we have access to Sizzle next turn. So our opponent does appear to just be red-green beatdown, which is an interesting archetype. Usually the powerful cards in Sealed are gonna be your gold cards, and there's no gold cards in red-green, at least not yet. So they're going to be missing out on some power level, or they might be waiting on a 3rd color. Could be the case. They could also be a newer player, given that they blocked with the recruit, but who knows. Alright, let's rat it up. Alright, opponent discards lands, so they're just flooding out. Got a Stroke up, in case they play something big. And once we draw 1 more land, we can afford to play the Drake and still keep up Stroke. Alright, so do we care about Cosmotronic Wave? I don't think we do. They get to kill the rat, sure. But they only get in for like 4 damage here, when we're at 19. Seems reasonable. Alright, tap land. And then next turn we can play the Muse Drake finally. Alright, that's good enough to counter. I don't mind converting the Disdainful Stroke so we can tap out from here. Let's Muse Drake, I think. If we draw land, we can still Cyclops. We'll stay back for now, so we can maybe triple block the Minotaur. Alright, there's a white mana, so they are playing 3 colors. And a Vigor Spore Worm. It's pretty good here. But we can just kill it next turn. Alright. So our opponent's empty-handed, we still have quite a few cards to work with. And slowly but surely we're gonna start pinging them with our bird tokens. So don't hit our spot. I think we prefer saving damage than killing a Fire Urchin. Alright, Whisper Agent's not bad. Plays well with campaign, so if they're stranded with the card in hand, we can make that play. But I think we'd rather get the Darkblade Agent in play first before we Whisper Agent. So we don't have the mana to Agent plus Takedown here. But we could just play Cyclops that trades for the Worm anyway, which seems good enough. Are we dead to another Cosmotronic Wave? We would be taking 10, so we wouldn't be dead yet, so I think that's fine. So we'll play Darkblade Agent, play Cyclops, and attack for 1 with Bird Token. Think we keep the Drake back still. Alright, let's make some trades. Opponent's empty-handed, so we don't have to play around the trick. So we actually get to kill the Minotaur for free here. Seems good. I guess it's time to Whisper Agent and Darkblade Agent, draw more cards. Probably should have attacked first here, see what we draw. Could have played a crab here instead. I was getting a bit impatient. And a glaive. Alright, so we've got 2 Guild Gates plus glaive, so we've got a pretty fast clock going here. So yeah, had we sequenced our turn properly last turn, we would have attacked with Agent first, played a crab, and still had a Disinformation campaign in hand, which we could have played maybe to get their last card out of their hand now. But we forgot to attack with the Darkblade Agent first there. Don't really want to trade anything else here. This seems fine. Hey, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub there, Pikeworm. Welcome to the Loyal Legion. Let's have some hype in chat. Welcome, Pikeworm, to the ranks of the Loyal Legion. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate the support. Crawl Foragers, getting them for life. So it's gonna take a bit longer to finish them off here. Alright, so triple removal spell in hand, not bad. So is there anything we want to equip with a glaive other than a flyer? Like, I guess we can equip a crab. If they double block, we can kill one of them with a removal spell. I guess it's tempting. Alright, sure. The crab deserves it. Opponent takes it. Say go. Keep up all the removal spells. So far we haven't really noticed any mana problems in the deck, so the mana base has been pretty smooth, all things considered. Alright, so do we want to kill the Recluse end of turn here? I don't hate it. We could Hypothesizzle and kill it. And I got a bunch more gifted subs from Halfiat. Thank you, and welcome to the Loyal Legion, to everyone. Keeping Thought Erasure is actually pretty tempting given Disinformation campaign, but eh. I'm guessing we can beat their last card. And we'll just hang on to the 2 removal spells instead. So now the birds can keep attacking. Disappearance is good too. Disappearance plus campaign is quite a combo if they're empty-handed, but they're not quite empty-handed. So I think we'll hang on to it for now. And then can attack with Crab and the Flyers once again. I guess we could also attack with Agent if they block. We can Disappearance. The awkward thing is that they're likely to block with the Foragers, and the Forager is just a creature that we wanna maybe bounce. So I don't think we'll make that play yet. We're not in a hurry, and we've got triple removal spell, so we should have them covered. Alright, they're pulling the trigger on the double block here. Like, honestly, I might just let this trade happen. Trade Wishcoin Crab for Foragers, hang on to removal spells. We still have plenty of creatures to equip with a Glaive afterwards. So this is a very conservative play. Opponent might pull the trigger on their own trick, and then we punish them with our removal. Integrity. Alright, so now which removal spell do we want to use? Probably Artful Takedown. Could also Disappearance into campaign. I guess that's nice too. Alright, sure. We'll Disappearance into campaign. Don't need land. So we got kind of paid off by being patient and letting the trade happen. Opponent felt compelled to intervene with their Integrity Intervention. And kind of got punished. And now we still have 2 removal spells in hand. And we're even further ahead on board. So we should be able to kill him next turn. This game was quite a beating. So do we have to kill this urchin, or can we just attack with everyone next turn? I think attacking with everyone should get the job done. Opponent says go. Alright, I'll be nice. I won't Notion Vein into Disinformation campaign them. Even though technically it might be the correct play. Alright, so we're 5-2, so if we win one more, we get our gems back. Hand looks reasonable. We seem to be getting this basic mountain in our opening hand quite a bit. Even though we only have 2 of them, I believe. Alright, Poisoner into Child of Night. But the Burgle Rats, pretty nice play here. We could Darkblade Agent, set up the Death Touch with Whisper Agents. How are we gonna deal with a Centipede? Just take 3 for a turn? Might be okay. They might keep the Centipede back, which is fine too. I think this is okay. Like, we're a bit too far behind on board, so I don't think we can afford to keep up Disdainful Stroke here, even though it would be nice. Alright. So they're gonna attack with the Centipede, keep back Poisoner to block the Agent. We'll have a Crab soon to block the Centipede, so I think we'll be okay. I don't really want to trade Darkblade Agent for Poisoner, so we can either keep up Disdainful Stroke and flash in Whisper Agent end of turn, or play Wishcoin Crab, which blocks Centipede. Maybe trading Rat for Poisoner was still okay. Like, our game plan is usually to just stall out the ground and eventually win with a few Flyers or with a creature equipped with Glaive, so the Death Touch creature doesn't really bother us. So I think we'll just play Crab for now. Say go and see what happens. So we'll Lantern, keep up Stroke. And a Lurcher, so that also explains why they were somewhat eager to trade off their creatures earlier. A 3/3 Lurcher doesn't bother me, so I don't think we need to Disdainful Stroke that. Just gets blocked by the Crab anyway. So we're fine to kind of play it passively here. Could keep land in hand in case of an opposing rat. Don't need land 7 in play. And then we can also give our Darkblade Agent Death Touch at instant speed with the Whisper Agent. Iron Shell Beetle, sure. On the Lurcher. So yeah, the ground is pretty stalled up. Opponent can't really make any great attacks. I don't feel compelled to play the Whisper Agent yet. Artful Takedown's good too. So we could make a play where we tap down the Rhizome Lurcher, kill Poisoner or Centipede, and maybe start getting in there. But for now, I think we'll chill. Could have played a land to have access to both Whisper Agent and a 4-mana removal spell. Alright, so they might go for counter on Lurcher, and now we can take down. Tapping. Could tap Poisoner, could tap Centipede. Probably Centipede, and then kill this. Campaign's good, so we got paid off for waiting on the Whisper Agent. Commander Storm's good too. So now I think we want to play the land just to have access to Status Statue just in case. Could regret it if they play a Burgle Rat here, but so be it. Still don't really feel compelled to make any aggressive attacks. Deadly Visit on the Crab. Yep. Don't think we want to let that happen. Crab's pretty useful here. Alright, I mean our hand's pretty stacked. 2 removal spells and a Whisper Agent that's gonna return the campaign. So we'll just go Whisper Agent into campaign here, get our last card. Which I doubt is a land, but it could be. Thought Erasure's tempting. Like, it plays well with campaign, so at the very least it draws us an extra card and surveils, and now with the Mystic it also makes a bird token. So despite our opponent probably being empty-handed, I think it's good enough. And then I will campaign them instead of playing the Murmuring Mystic. And Survey says, Izoni, well, that's a good one to make him discard. That's for sure. No attacks, even though we have Death Touch on the Agent. And now we can slowly start grinding them out with the bird tokens from the Murmuring Mystic. Which is all according to plan. I think we'll Mystic into Notion Rain. And then if they crack the Locket and have a few cards stranded, we might be able to take it with the Thought Erasure. Glaive is good. Only 1 Guild Gate so far, but I'm sure we'll draw a few more in the meantime. Say go. Let's see if they have another heavy hitter like Izoni in their deck, because that's what they'll need. Deadweight doesn't do much here. Watery Grave would have been better off as a gate maybe. It's campaign. Do want to make sure we can close out the game before we deck ourselves, but that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, there's a Guild Gate, so we can play the Guild Gate, play Glaive, and next turn we can equip. Could also Thought Erasure here, don't think that's necessary. Would make an extra bird token, would return campaign, so it's not terrible. I think we'll wait. Just get in for 1. Since they are kind of incentivized to sack the Locket here, so there's a good chance that they'll have a card stranded in their hand that they can't play. So step 1 Thought Erasure. Want a Thought Erasure before Burgle Rat, so if they have a land and a card, we can take the card and then make them discard the land. Alright, a Ritual of Soot and a Lothless Giant, wow. Alright. Those are some cards. Keep the Indrik. And I guess we can campaign instead of Rat. And then equip Glaive. And get in. Got a nice colorful hand. Undercity Uprising, killing Murmuring Mystic. That's okay, got our value. And they're gonna go with a decently sized attack, since now all their creatures have Death Touch. Killing Poisoner's okay. Like next turn we'll have an Indrik, which can kill Centipede or Child of Night as well. So I think we just let damage happen. We're taking how much damage? 3, 4, 7? I guess another Lothless Giant could be painful. I think we want to keep the birds. I could see trading here. It's probably fine. I think we just want to hang on to the birds to have those evasive creatures to fly over in case they stall out the ground again. And for now we'll just Indrik. Kill the Centipede. Take action. Play out a land so we have access to statue. And attack with everyone. No need to play out a rat. Opponent finally finds double green. So can we kill our opponent here? 6 plus 4 is 10. Not quite, but we can set it up for next turn. I think we send in Indrik and the birds. Keep back the crab. Opponent jumps. And say go. Alright, that does it. Sweet. It's a nice grindy game versus Golgari. And we got our 6 wins, which is the goal whenever we're playing sealed. Let's see if we can get to 7. Alright, what about this opening hand? Looks alright. Chromatic Lantern, Cyclops, and an Indrik later. Hey, thanks for the 4 months in a row. Fallen, Unconnected. Welcome back to the Loyal Legion to you as well. Let's have some more hype in chat. Appreciate the continued support, you guys. Alright, Blade Instructor. We might just want to trade off. So if we play Cyclops into Lantern turn 4, turn 5 we can Indrik, which could kill the Instructor, but then we're taking 6 damage in the meantime, which may or may not be worth it. Still don't want to play Mountain in case of a Nightveil Predator. So play Cyclops and see if the opponent even wants to offer the trade. They might not. But I think trading's probably okay here. We might be flooding out a bit, so just want to protect our life total until we can draw some more spells. They might not give us the choice. Conclave Tribunal, the Cyclops, alright. So we're taking 3. So next turn we'll probably go Lantern plus Watery Grave tapped. Alright, so not the most helpful draw so far. We've drawn only lands. So could be in trouble if we don't find some action soon. That's okay, we had a pretty good run so far. I didn't get too unlucky in any of our games. So it's about time. Alright, Whisper Agent gives us some hope. And if they don't have another pump spell or removal spell, the Indrik does stabilize us, so we might be okay. Intrusive Pack Beasts, so they're gonna hit us for 3 again. Alright, so opponent appears to be on a blue-white, kind of aggro tempo-ish deck. Haven't seen any flyers yet, so that's gonna be the primary concern, since we don't have any answers for those. Alright, Hypothesis could help. So we'll just pass a turn. With Agent and Hypothesis up, can only do one of the 2, so we'll see which one we end up playing. The problem with Sizzle is that we have to discard an actual spell. Alright, opponent does nothing, so we'll just flash an Agent, keep Hypothesis to answer a flying creature. And Nightveil Predator, yeah, I'll take that. That's a good draw. Hope they don't have a disable stroke. That works. Play the land. Alright, so we're back in business. The ground is stable. I've got a Nightveil Predator, that's difficult to answer. Alright, finds a red mana finally, so that's what they were waiting for. And a Burgle Rat, not bad here. And nibble away at their hand. Well, got a Torch Courier, that's unexpected. Could start getting a bit more aggressive now. Now that we have a rat that blocks the Blade Instructor too. Could afford to attack with the Indrik or the Agents, or maybe both. Both seems excessive. I could see attacking with the Indrik, since it's not like they have a good double block on it. And say go. Probably can afford to play out the Swamp. Alright, we'll see what happens. Maniacal Rage. I guess we want to kill it before it resolves, in case of any pump spells. And hope to draw into a spell, since if we don't, then this Hypothesizal is not gonna do much. Ooh, punished for not playing the land now. But our opponent scoops it up. Wow. So it looked sketchy for a second there, but hey, the deck carried us to 7 wins in the end. So Chromatic Crab getting the 7 victories. So our Ravnica sealed events have been treating us kindly so far. Sweet. Alright. Always feels nice when we don't lose out any gems. And what do we get to open? A Firemind's Research. If this is a pack 1 pick 1 in draft, what do we take? Could see taking Legionnaire. Monument's a bit more flexible. Haven't been too impressed by Research in draft. But maybe I haven't had the right deck for it yet. Lazav is always a fun one in draft. Pretty powerful too. So I wouldn't mind taking it out of a pack 1 pick 1. And Izoni is definitely one of the few good reasons to move into Golgari after a pack 1 pick 1. Beacon Ball's great too, Death Champion's great too. But if you can start a draft with Izoni and kind of build around it and have a nice Golgari deck, then that could pay off. But anyways, that's going to be it for today. Want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.